We all know that when the seatbelt sign is on, we should refrain from using the washrooms on the plane. But one WestJet passenger traveling from Mexico with a stomach bug really had to go again and again and again. So she said on X that she was kicked off for using the toilet too much before takeoff. Don't worry, not mid-flight. So Allison, was that a fair move?
I'm very triggered by this question. Unfortunately, I have experienced this thing exactly.
No.
When I was coming back from covering the Queen's funeral for 10 days, I was in London. I must have eaten something weird that did not agree with my system just before I boarded an 8-hour flight from London to New York City. As I was getting on the flight, I started feeling, uh-oh, this is not gonna be good. And I was that passenger. I was going to the bathroom nonstop. I had full-blown food poisoning on this flight.
No.
It was horrible.
So were you able to, did you use the washroom after takeoff? Or were you
After
able to
takeoff,
contain?
Before that, I was white-knuckling it on the armrest next to me.
Terrible experience.
Just trying to hold on, and I can't imagine the flight attendants not being kind to me. The ones that I had were so kind. They could see that I was in distress. I was sweating and basically green, and they were helping me, bringing me water. I found a bag of dried cereal that I was munching on, trying to keep things down. They were so kind, so I can't imagine the added shame of being called out for that. Nobody wants to be in that position.
Yeah.
I think the perspective changes whether you're on the toilet. Obviously, you're hoping that everyone, the 400 people that you're maybe causing to miss their flight, has compassion. Do you know what I mean? Because if she wasn't able to sit down, the flight's not taking off. So that's, you know, really making a lot of people upset, most likely. But if you're the one on the toilet, you really want compassion.
You really do.
It depends on your view, right?
Nope.
No.
I want her off my flight. First of all, it's airline policy that if you are not fit to fly, they have to get you off the flight.
But when do you hit the affliction? What if the affliction starts like Allison when she's just getting in her seat? She's like, ah!
Here's the deal. If they don't notice that she's like, you know, obviously ill before takeoff, well, then they just have to deal with it and they'll give her water and make her comfortable, which is what they're there to do. But if you're going to the bathroom several times before we even take off, when we get in the air, suppose this is an 8-hour flight, 9-hour flight, 11-hour flight, you're only gonna get worse and they don't know, and it could be an emergency. Now they're gonna have to emergency land, and that means everybody who's on this plane is gonna miss their connection or their cruise or whatever else that they're trying to get to. So it actually is better for her to get off the flight and for her to get to safety and go to a hospital and get checked out and get the fluids. I know it doesn't sound nice to kick her off, but it was the right thing to do.
This
for
is all
her and everybody
fair.
else.
This all makes sense. However, what is the airline's responsibility when it comes to actually helping out? Because I'll be honest, I remember also traveling once, this is years ago, way before the pandemic. I also wasn't feeling well. I also was coming from Mexico, but I had like a strange reaction. Like I had a cough and a cold and I was kind of puffy. I don't know what was going on with me, but I sat down and I felt like hell. And I thought if they had been suspicious. If this had been during COVID, let's say, or they were worried about me having something that was contagious, and they took me off, well, I was like a student. Like, I didn't have any money. Where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna stay? Where's my safety? How much is it gonna cost me to rebook that flight? So I think until there's some answers on the part of the airline of how they're gonna help out, then I think you're still gonna see people showing up with Montezuma's Revenge. And doing right?
You make a very valid point, but again, I think like if you're showing obvious signs that you're not well, you gotta get off the flight. I'm sorry that I don't care how you get your next flight. I need you off. Plus, we also, for safety reasons, we don't know what you're doing back and forth. That would also raise a lot of red flags. If I see someone going back and forth, I'm like, what are they doing?
Having been there, you don't want to know.
Right? Good point.
Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.